My path to science makes absolutely no sense on paper, which is how I know I did it right. I'm Dr. Rachel Washburn, director of the Washburn Chaos Lab and founder of Feral Science and your resident Sciences Medal advocate. I do science the same way I do everything else. A little loud, a little feral, and very interdisciplinary. My path actually started back at 9/11. 9/11 happened when I was a teenager, and it just stuck with me. I knew early on that I wanted to do something that mattered, something that protected people, that helped people, that made a difference, not just something that looked good on a resume. When I started my undergrad, that sense of purpose was still there. I joined Air Force ROTC and majored in Russian studies, and that took me to study abroad for a little bit. After I graduated, I commissioned as an intelligence officer and went into Air Force Special Operations Command. And that's where the work was intense, unforgiving, and very real. It's also where my health started to fall apart in ways the flight docs couldn't really explain. I remember sitting in medical offices, reading research papers, trying to advocate for myself, and realizing pretty quickly I didn't actually understand the language I was staring at, which is a problem when your life depends on it. So I made a deal with myself. If I lived through it, I'd go back to school, learn the science, and hopefully make someone else's road a little easier than mine was. I couldn't just jump straight from Russian to a biomedical research degree, so I started over. I took biology, chemistry, cell biology, genetics. I volunteered in research labs, and I went all in. And I got my PhD in immunology and infectious diseases. At the same time, I would go hiking and camping. Moab, Utah, fantastic place for the great outdoors. But that's where I got obsessed with BioCrust, these living microbial mats that literally are holding the desert together. And I started to ask, how is the rocks and the geology actually affecting those BioCrusts? How are the BioCrusts affecting geology? And how could that actually be affecting us? For a while, no one wanted to take a chance on research that messy and interdisciplinary until I crossed paths with the Kentucky Geological Survey. I pitched a lab that bridged geology and medicine. We landed funding, and they gave me this lab to build from the ground up. I named it Chaos because, if you know me, that was inevitable. Now we do feral science, connecting bedrock to bench to bedside by studying how geologic processes shape microbial life, how that microbial life shapes geology, and how all that together affects human health and medicine. So yeah, Russian to spec ops, to biomedicine, to geoscience. It's a weird path, but every step built into the next. And now I get to do the very science that I once wished existed. Science is metal, science is feral, and science is chaos.